All right, everyone. I just remembered what I said to this coworker. It kind of went out of my head as I was driving, okay? I just finished, kind of closing out what happened today, but I need to say this. The coworker said to me she thought that the management person we were... Do you see how hesitant I am to say anything? This school system is not a safe place, okay? But anyway, this coworker, when I said, do you see how hesitant I am? I said, I do my best to be positive, okay? However, my experience with this person, I said, have you ever heard of Machiavellian personality? And they're like, oh, she's a narcissist. And I'm like, what? This is the second person that has said this same thing about this leader being a narcissist. Okay? And I just told them I would help them with things like, for example, CPR and first aid training. But I truly believe that this person would try and find something and use it against me. Okay? And other management upline was supported by their complicitness. Okay? So this is what I said to this person. I know I'm building up that. I said, I worked in Atlanta in some of the roughest places. Before all the projects were torn down, I worked in a place they call Vietnam. The Red Dogs were out there. The Atlanta Police Department, that now the Red Dogs, which no longer exists. They were doing drug raids. I had some of the street entrepreneurs. We won't say what they were selling. They would watch my car. And this is what I said to this coworker, this school health staff. I felt safer in that environment with street entrepreneurs, allegedly, street pharmaceuticals, okay? Street pharmacists. Do you all know what I'm talking about? I would come out there and they would straighten up and they would watch my car and my car would still be there. Now, I won't talk about what was going on, okay? But I told this coworker, I said, I have been in some of the roughest places. I would go do visits alone, and there was people that wouldn't want to go visit where I would visit and say, there was just a drug raid here. There was the marshals were out there serving arrest warrants, fugitives, all kind of stuff running around. And I said to this coworker, I felt safer in that environment. I felt safer in the Bluff in Atlanta. I did home around the historically black colleges. Now it's gentrified, but when I was a public health nurse, it was an area called the Bluff. And I had this coworker who was a recovered drug addict, and we had to go out there and go provide services. And she said even in her worst state, when she was the highest, she would never come out here. I drove into that neighborhood and it just was like the sun was in the other area, and when you went into there, it's just like you felt darkness. I felt safer there than I feel in this school system. And it was a house, and there was 3 of us, and one coworker was a recovering drug addict. She's like, I want to get out of here. I would even when I was like completely high, I would never come out here to come and get my pharmaceuticals. I felt safer in the Bluff than I do at this school system, guys. And the coworker's like, do you need a hug? I said, well, I'm okay. So we did do a quick hug because I don't like really That's not my love language, okay? And especially not at work. I don't consider that necessarily something I'm going to initiate or try. All right. But yeah, all those areas. I mean, we're talking, I can name places, Bankhead Courts, where I believe T.I. used to live, and he referenced that. Perry Homes, Capitol Homes, Grady Homes, great people out there, by the way. But it was considered not necessarily the safest place to be on a Friday or something like that, okay? Because our rule was like, don't go do a home visit on a Friday afternoon, because 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to end up having to do some kind of defects report. That's one thing one of the public health nurses in California said. Don't go out if you can. Don't visit on Friday afternoon. People let their figurative hair down. Anyway, to get back to it, excuse me, ears itching. If your ears itching, does that mean somebody's talking about you? Anyway, I felt safer in those challenging situations. I mean, one time I felt safer in this situation. I was doing a home visit, and this man was running from the marshal, and then the marshal was running by, and I'm up there knocking on the door to do a home visit, and they're cuffing up this man, and the marshal's like, he should have ran. He shouldn't have ran. So the marshal just wanted to talk. I felt safer. And by the way, when that person was evading the police, they still said good morning to me as they were running by. I felt safer there. Okay? I felt safer walking through alleys in the projects by myself with street pharmaceuticals allegedly watching my car. They told me you could leave that car wide open. Nobody's going to bother your car. I felt safer around like drug addicted people and stuff like that. I mean, if there was this one client I had that was clearly like deep in substance abuse, but when they saw me, they would straighten up, they would pour out whatever they were drinking or get rid of some other things. But yeah, I felt safer in that situation than I do here. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to go ahead and edit this video. But yeah, that conversation brought up some stuff. And the person was like, everybody has the highest regard for you. And I appreciate that when people say that, because I really do try to be fair and transparent. I'm not faking it. I don't have to make it up. It's from inside of me. I'm not some Machiavellian person whoever's presence they're in, they morph into that person. They morph into whoever they think that person wants to see. If somebody's really into professionalism, the person will morph into that. You know, I don't even need to go into that. I don't fake what I do. But honestly, truly, that's the truth. I don't feel safe around any of these leaders, not one of them, okay? Now, when we get to the local schools and dealing with the principals, that's a completely different thing. I have wonderful relationships with many of the principals, okay? Wonderful relationships. I'm not talking about when I go to the local schools, okay? I'm talking about within my department and anyone that's a manager or above. They all have these, they have these cunning, crafty personalities. I have never seen anything like this in my life. In my, how long have I been doing this? It's been over 30-year career. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I've never dealt with people like this in my life that are so educated, and they use their status, elitism, classism to manipulate, to push their way up, to have little to no regard for people. And oh my goodness. And someone like me that is upstanding, I was in this meeting and I became very anxious. I felt like my job was on the line, and this person had me labeled this impartial person, saying that they questioned if I was unfit based on that behavior, because I had a fight or flight and I had to sit still in a chair. My chest was pounding. I took my blood pressure and this person, I said, I just came for a meeting. Let me check my blood pressure. They're like, oh my God. My blood pressure is fine now, by the way. But they're like, whoever you're around, you need to get away from them. But my chest was pounding, and this impartial person said they questioned if I was fit. And that's when I went and got representation. And ever since then, this person, this management has been tiptoeing around me and not supporting me when there's nurses that have refused assignments. Instead of telling that person, just go ahead and do it, they're aligning with these new nurses. And so it turns into this Machiavellian, narcissistic, manipulative manager is going to align themselves with these new nurses. And when we come in the meeting, it's going to look like I'm the one that's the person that is initiating all this stuff. When in fact, when I'm in meetings with this leader, they're like, oh no, the first meeting when we brought this up, they should be going out. They've already been trained. But now this person morphs into this compassionate, we need to be compassionate. When I was originally the one that brought up that there were nurses with health conditions that were older, that were not able to move, now they morph into this compassionate person saying, oh, we need to think about nurses that are older. We need to think about people that have health conditions. We need to think about, I'm the one that brought up the nurses that have had deaths and recent things happen in their families that are exhausted. And I am the one that advocated and encouraged them to advocate for themselves. Now this Machiavellian narcissistic leader, oh, we have to have compassion. They don't care anything about these school health staff workers. And to some degree, indirectly, they don't care anything about these students. They don't care anything. These folks don't care anything about the students. They care about climbing, status, etc.